The topic that I chose to look at this week was stimulation of the prefrontal cortex reduces intentions to commit aggression. Background information on this topic is that researchers at the University of Pennsylvania believe that electrical stimulation of the prefrontal cortex may lower the motive or inclination to perform violent acts by over 50%. Specifically, they looked at transcranial direct stimulation, or tDCS, which involves using two electrodes, one positive and one negative, and placing them on either side of the brain. A weak electrical impulse is then sent through the brain, which is thought to bring about stimulation. The research has led some people to question whether or not it would be ethical or even possible to introduce this technology to our legal system. Specifically, the researchers wanted to know if electrical stimulation by tDCS of the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex would reduce the probability of engaging in aggressive behaviors. The double-blind study involved 81 participants, about half men and half women, all above the age of 18, and assigned them to the placebo condition or the active condition. The active condition received stimulation over a 20-minute period, while the placebo group experienced it for only the first 30 seconds. During stimulation, the participants had to perform two cognitive tasks in order to engage the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex: the psychomotor vigilance task and the Iowa gambling task. The vigilance task was a reaction time task in response to a visual stimulus, and the Iowa gambling task was another psychological task which was meant to stimulate real-life decision-making scenarios. This was done because it is understood that the task performed during the electrical stimulation influences the behavioral after effects. After stimulation, researchers wanted to look at the intentions to commit aggression, perception of moral wrongfulness, and aggression. In order to look at intentions to commit aggressive acts, scenarios depicting two types of aggression, specifically physical and sexual assault, were shown to participants who were asked to respond on a 1 to 10 scale of how likely they would be to commit either act. To assess moral wrongfulness, the participants had to rate how morally wrong it would be to act as the protagonist in certain situations, again on a scale of 1 to 10. And finally, aggression was looked at using the voodoo doll tasks, which asked the participants to look at a computerized image of a person and explain to that they could release negative energy to that individual by inserting 1 to 5 pins into the doll. A higher number of pins inserted into the doll represented a higher aggression level. The results showed that the active tDCS group reported a much lower likelihood of engaging in aggression and also perceived aggressive acts as more morally wrong. However, there was no significant group difference in behavioral aggression assessed using the voodoo doll task. A real-world application for this would be that researcher Adrian Rain said that much of the focus in understanding crime or understanding the cause of crime has been on social causation, and although important, biological factors also contribute to this. He also says that although this is not the magic bullet that's going to wipe away aggression and crime, transcranial direct stimulation could be offered as an intervention technique for first-time offenders to reduce their likelihood of committing a violent act.